Ever notice how when you go onto a website, a lot of the time they present images to you which are grotesque? People with great big balloon arms and legs sitting there floating around with weird purple or green or blue or orange eyeballs, faces and arms and legs. And you wonder, who's designing this nonsense? Well, it's designed to try to make you feel stupid, to try to make you feel as though you are part of some great mass of stupid, useless, powerless humanity who can't do anything for themselves but walk around with tiny little heads and great big arms and shoulders and legs as if they are in control of some great big body they could never, or not in control of, but operating some great big body they could have no means of controlling, perhaps unless someone else stepped in. Okay? People don't look like that. But if you've seen a lot of the ways that, Adobe that makes Photoshop and other such software, their website's full of this nonsense. Now, this isn't accidental, okay? It isn't some random style. It's to try to make people feel helpless, okay? If you think about the body proportions of these people that are being drawn, it's to try to make the person feel, like I said, powerless, helpless, because that person doesn't have control over their own body. They couldn't hope to walk by themselves. So it's to try to make people, it's psychologically to undermine their self-confidence as an individual. And a lot of the biggest companies out there have this. If they're dealing with the general public, they have this kind of imagery all over their websites. And it is part of a strategy, an overarching strategy to try to demoralize people. Okay? I'll also say there's a high feminist aspect to this as well, because, like it or not, women, if they are built a certain way, tend to have not the same physical ability to dive, jump, and bounce and climb and whatever that people in good health would. So the body shapes of these people, say what you want, okay? They're drawn so as to kind of represent this bulky female kind of body shape, which doesn't have that much control over what it's doing, which doesn't have the I don't know how to put this. I I hope you know what I mean. These people are not drawn so as to represent a healthy masculine form or a healthy feminine form. They are drawn so as to indicate some weird, grotesque abnormalities that would make the person unsteady on their feet. They have tiny little feet, great big limbs, maybe even a tiny head or an oversized head or some weird, grotesque sickness as depicted by the imagery. And yeah, it's designed to try to undermine a person's confidence and belief in their ability to do anything. Also, you'll see pictures of people like just as if humanity is being depicted by people who want human beings to feel weak. Okay? If you want human beings to look at something and feel energized, vigorous, in control, and powerful, you depict them as such. These images are designed. Like, it's not an accident. People drawing this stuff don't do it by accident. They don't go trip up and accidentally draw something. Okay, these things are intentionally put in place to try to make you feel weak and stupid and helpless and dependent and frail. That's what it's for. So every time you see these things on websites, don't think, that's curious, that's strange. Think, oh, it's actually a malevolent attempt to try to undermine me as a user of this website, as someone who's involving myself with this, or potentially involving myself with this business. That's what it's about. To try to infantilize you, to try to make you feel weak and dependent. And it's been going on for a couple of decades now. I noticed it happening about 20 odd years ago, and it's just gotten worse. And people accept it now as, oh, it's just, it doesn't mean anything. It does mean something, okay? If you're using a business's service, if you're visiting their website and they are indicating to you through their imagery that they have absolute, deep, malevolent contempt for the users of their business, try to use another company. And unfortunately, a lot of the businesses who are doing this are the big guys. And they, unfortunately, like it or not, believe it or not, okay, are definitely part of this great big globalism problem. They've all been, either they were tapped on the shoulder and invited to join, or they have just become part of it. The people who are running the show at the top are definitely doing all on the same, singing from the same hymn sheet. If you don't think it's true, you're blind or you're just pretending it isn't the case. So the freedom you have is to opt out. Try to use things other than these businesses. Share this information. It's the truth. If I was trying to get people to come to my business and to feel like they would want to do business with me, like they were my contemporaries, that they were respected by me, I wouldn't draw pictures of representing people as if they were balloon people who had no control over themselves, who were walking around like big bouncy castles, inflatable castles for kids to jump on, who couldn't actually operate their own bodies. It's crazy. So when you see this stuff, it's not accidental. Okay? It's a mess. Our society is a mess, and it's been made a mess by people who have an agenda, who are trying to undermine you psychologically all the time, whenever they get a chance. And that's why it seems weird, and that's why it seems off, and that's why it seems wrong, and it doesn't seem authentic, and it seems kind of illegitimate. Because it is. Because it's designed to undermine you. I've watched it happen. I know I'm not the only one who's seen it happen, and those who haven't really noticed it, start paying attention, because that's the world, the corrupt, rotten, festering world that's being created. You can do your part to get away from it, and around it, and keep away from that nastiness. But it's there, and it's rot. Okay? It's corruption and decay. Keep away from it. It's disgusting. It's disgraceful. And every time you use a website, you may not see it all the time, but you'll see it now and then. And you'll think, ugh, that's disgusting. And that's what's happened. Because it's become disgusting. Because that's their modus operandum. That's the way they do these things. To try to undermine people. Now think of the psychology of that. They can't win by themselves, by their own virtue. So they have to seek to undermine others. That's a sign of weakness. These people are weak. Inherently weak. So they can definitely be beaten. Just observe what they're doing. Tear it apart if you can or you have to. Or just avoid it. But be aware of it first of all. So, when I go on a website and I see these weird, misshapen, purple, orange and green people sitting there using tiny little laptops that really couldn't function for them if they wanted them to, or riding tiny little bicycles and walking among triangular trees in a weird, twisted, sick fantasy world, I think, that company has contempt for people. I don't really want to do business with them, and I leave that web page immediately, if I can. If not, I make a ranty video. You should do the same.